fishing, everybody, and today I'm heading home. I just got skunked at one spot. I'm not sure if I'm gonna put that in this video or not. It depends how the next spot goes. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the Publix pond. I'm running home to grab some level line, which I don't really use that often, but I do want to use it today just because, you know, I want to do something a little bit different. And when I get there, I'm gonna show you guys how I rig up my lines from beginning to end. That way you kind of get an idea of how to do it, you know, and if you're new, you have an idea of how to do it yourself. And yeah, so consider this like a tutorial video once we get there with some fishing at the end. So yeah, I'll meet you guys at the water and we'll get this show on the road. Before we get to the rod rigging up, look how low the water levels are in my area right now. This is like crazy. Like, these plants here are supposed to be in the water at all times, and like you can literally walk all the way down. Like, it's probably only 1.5 feet deep out there. Like, it's super shallow. Really interesting. I mean, look how low it is. That rock wall was underwater last time we were here. We're just barely peeking over it. It's like 4 or 5 feet lower than it's supposed to be, or than it normally is. So we're gonna get over here to that sunny spot on that corner. Oh no, the whole, like, wow, like the spot that we normally catch the bass at, or we saw the bass at. The little, this is really cool. You can see the, yeah, let me walk over a little bit quicker. And I don't know about you guys, but what in the world? Something moving in the trees back there. I don't know about you guys, but there's something really enjoyable about having hot chocolate or hot beverages in general when it's really cold out. I am gonna fish this pond area here because it's, you know, I'm sure there's still fish in there. Whether or not they're, like, this is normally in the water. I just saw a bluegill. But this little cove right here, see if y'all can, I can't tell if y'all can see it. I see some raccoon footprints. Just saw a little bluegill dive down. This is normally all underwater right here, and that little slough that goes through the middle, that's where we saw the bass roaming. And then right there by that log or pipe sticking up is where he was as well. So he might be in the shallow spot. This could either go really well for us today or really bad. So now that we're in the sun, I'm gonna put my stuff down. Make sure no flies go in my coffee. Make sure you guys can see. All right, you can see pretty good. So I already took off my floating line off of my spool, so I have a place to wind up my new one. And what I like to do with mine, oh, that's my, don't tell me I just left it at home. I just ran to the house to grab it. Okay. So it doesn't really matter what brand you use. I'm using TENAKARA USA's level line just because that's what I had bought at the time. It's a little tangled up somehow. So the way I do mine is I do all loop knots except for what I connect to my fly. So I just do a loop knot at the top, which I normally try to make this one a little bit bigger so it's easier to connect my my Lillian. So you just do a loop, do another loop like that. So you got 2 loops kind of going together. Then take your last little tag end, put it between the 2 loops and kind of pinch it. Grab the second loop that you made and just pull it through like that till you get your knot kind of tight, and just pull it like that. Then come on, trim off your excess, make sure you don't leave it in the spot you're fishing at. And then I just connect this to my Lillian. Can't see if y'all can see. Bear with me here. It's my first time doing a tutorial like this, as you guys would know. So you do your little Lillian, you know, you make your loop like you normally would. Make sure you don't break your Lillian in the process here. Feed it through. Feed it through like that. Make sure it doesn't get caught on your knot. And then pull it tight. If you are using fly line backing, it works the same way. But if you're using floating fly line, not the ones that come pre-made with this, you know, the string at the end, I would recommend putting your Lillian through it twice, so you double wrap it, and then every few casts, if you haven't hooked into anything, re-pull it tight, because it will back out and loosen the loop right here on you, and you'll cast and your whole thing will flick off. So then what I do is I just kind of extend my rod. Depending on what length I'm going to be fishing, it determines how long I'm making my whatchamacallit. This thing is all tangled up though. Trying to show y'all how to do something. My stuff's all tangled up. There we go. So I just kind of pull out a little bit, extend this up a little bit, you know. Keep extending it until you get it, you know. I'm fish mine all the way out. And then I'll just kind of, what I'll do is depending on the length of the rod, I'll point it forward. And I don't want to flex it. I just want to have it pointed forward. It's kind of hard. Well, this is almost about all the level line I got. So I'll point it forward and keep it loose, and I'll just pull it till it's straight like that to my hand, and then I'll take about 3 inches maybe off the end, 4 inches maybe, and then I'll clip it. And then what I'll do is I'll make another loop knot. I try to make it a little bit smaller. You could also put on a tippet ring if you wanted, but I prefer the loop-to-loops, and I'll show you why. So do your second loop, trim off your tag, right? And now your rod has got its casting line on it. And then I'll take my whatever I'm gonna be using for my tippet, which in this case I'm just gonna use some 6-pound fluorocarbon, and I'll measure maybe, that's what, a foot. So 1, 2, about 3 or 4 pulls. I'm gonna give a little bit extra here because I'm using a heavier fly. All right. Now you're probably not gonna be able to see this very well, but I just tie another loop knot in. Also try to make it kind of small. If not, it doesn't really matter how small it is. Pretty much you just want to be sure that it's tight. Once you get that tied in, what I'll do is I'll take my existing loop and your new loop, feed your new loop through like that, right? Just feed it through, and then grab your new line just from the other side and put it through the loop, and just pull it until all your tippets to where you get to this point here. Then you just want to pull it, make sure it doesn't get snagged on your other thing, and you just connect it loop to loop, just like that. And you just pull it tight, and there you go. I'll trim this tag a little bit shorter. Now the reason why I like using loop to loop is if your line's going to break, it's going to break at this loop, and it's not going to break here, it's going to break down here. And also when your tippet gets too short and you want to replace it, all you have to do is just cut this piece and then pull it, and it'll slide right off, and you can keep putting more and more tippet on here. Whereas if you use like a clench knot or a different type of knot, you have to cut your knot and retie your knot, whereas this you only have to tie your knots once. It doesn't look quite as good as doing a prettier one. And then for my fly, what I use to connect my flies, I usually just use a cinch knot. I don't use an improved cinch because I'm always worried that it's gonna put too much stress on my line. So let's see, we're gonna start with, I think, a smaller version of what we were using this morning. Just one of these weird bugs. We're gonna start with this, like a Zulu bug is what I think it's called, but different color. This one's tied with dog hair and brown hackle, and I think this one might be weighted. I don't remember. We'll find out when it hits the water. It stays on top. So I just do a cinch knot right here. Just a few twists, depending on the size of the hook. The eye of the hook determines how many twists I use. Also how thick my tippet is. So like sometimes I'll have to do like 10 twists. Sometimes it's gotta be like 30 twists. And then you just get it like that. Wet it and pull it down. And then what I like to do too is, because I wear my keys all the time, is I'll hook my hook to my, see, came undone on me. I didn't have enough loops in it. If you're doing an improved clench, you don't have to do as many wraps. but I don't like the improved clinch as much. I like the old school, just cinch knot. And sorry, I keep having to touch the camera to see what I'm doing. It's taking me 10 minutes to do this. So then you just feed it through again, but make sure you hold onto the tag. I had to let go of it before it was really tight. Hold on to your tag end, pull it tight, and then after I pull it tight, I'll hook it on my key ring, and I'll pull it just a few tugs just to make sure it's not going to slip out once you hook a fish. And then I'll snip my excess, and I'll leave a tiny tag every now and again, especially if I know there's bigger fish in the water, just in case my knot does slip a little bit. It's got some extra to pull off of. And yeah, that's how I rig it. It took me about 10 minutes according to my GoPro to get that done, not including the walk-up time. So it doesn't take very long. And yeah, hopefully if you guys have been struggling to make your own lines, or you're just curious on how to rig it up, that's how I do it. There's tons of other ways to do it out there, and there's no right or wrong way in my opinion, but that's just the way that I do it. So yeah, let's get to the fishing. All right, guys, the Publix pond, nothing here either. So we're gonna go across the street and try the Walmart pond, which has a higher concentration of fish, I would say. And I know the water level is really low over there too, but maybe we'll get lucky. I think the fish just got lockjaw today. It's hard out here. They don't want to bite, but I just want to feel the tug. I just want the tug. Somebody give me a tug. I mean, on my rod. I mean, my fishing rod. There we go. I'll meet y'all at the water. All right, guys, we're at the Walmart pond. Water levels are low here too, but I do at least think I see fish. No, those are leaves. Oh no. Yeah, those are leaves. Thought they were dead fish for a second. I don't currently see any fish, but we can still give it a try. I wasn't recording, guys, but I just saw a fish. I saw it. There's fish. They're after my fly. There's a bunch of fish over here, guys. Guys, there's fish. I see fish. They're little, but there's fish. We're gonna keep making our way around the pond in the hopes of finding a bass or something, because this hook's gonna be too big for a bluegill unless he's massive. Oh, that was close. Whew, about went in the water. Finally gave in, guys. Switched over to a little bug imitation. Oh my god, it's a fishy. Little old blue. And the only fish we caught we dropped. But it wouldn't be a not real fishing video if we didn't drop a fish. Stop. Cute little bluegill. Gonna let him go. Maybe we'll catch a couple more. Could go in after the big boys. I can catch these ones. Ooh, he choked it too. Oh, well, apparently not. Oh, stop. Come here. Another little... Trying to hold him, he flipped out of my hand. Anyway, I was trying to show you all the bluegill. That's two now. Now this grub imitation I'm using is tied from dog hair. And the dog's name is Baka, well, Chewbacca. So I dubbed this the Baka worm. These may not be the size I wanted today, but they are still fish. There we go, guys. Another very little pretty bluegill. Try not to fall in the water here. This bank is so slippery. Rude. Well, they're here. I'm catching them. I have smaller flies I could have used than these, but this is working for now. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Alright guys, not sure if I just lost all that footage or not, but I did just hook into a little bass and caught a couple little bluegill. And another, oh my goodness, absolutely tiny bluegill. There's a bass right in front of me. Oh my goodness, dude, how'd you even get that in your mouth? There's a little bass right in front of us. See if we can get him to bite the hook. Absolutely tiny little guy. But we did get one. It's kind of funny. I watched him bully a bluegill to get to the fly. Nice little green trout. Cute little guy. Seen a couple all about that size. Now the sun's coming out, the fish are starting to feed a little bit more, which is good. It's not good as I don't have much more time to fish. We've been out here already for about 5 hours now. Just saw a big old bass, guys, and he was checking out our fly, but then swam away. Tempted to put the big one back on. I'm gonna put on the big kabari real quick, see if we can get him to eat.